Hey, what's up guys? In this video, let's see how to make a Twitter application using Angular 2. You all know that Twitter has released a large amount of REST APIs for public usage. That is, you could build applications by making use of those REST APIs to access their resources. So let's see how to build our own application and access those resources of Twitter using the REST calls. So let's get started, guys. First of all, let me just open up my terminal, and then in this I'll use Symbian. So let's just straight away go ahead and get started. First of all, I'll just make a directory called ang2 Twitter and cd inside that. And then here I'll just scaffold out a new application and call it ng new Twitter app. Let this get created. Okay, this is done, and if you see here, I have opened it up in my VS Code editor, and here it is present. So now if you just give ng serve, it won't run. In order to make this run, you just need to lock this TypeScript version down to 2.0.0. I'll remove that symbol and then run npm install once again. Okay, let this go on. So meanwhile, this is just a minute, guys. I'll make this a bit bigger so that okay, now you can see, right? So this is our application, and as you can see, it's already in the RC5 version format. I think RC6 is released. I am not sure. I think it's released recently. It was released, I think. I don't know, but RC5 is the one that's being used now by most people, and it was one of the famous releases. So let's just move on with our application. So what we'll do here now is we'll go into app and then open up our app.component.html. So first of all, what I'm trying to show you guys is app only authentication. Like, wait, I'll just show you. There are different types of authentication in Twitter itself, guys. One is the application only authentication. See, this is application only authentication. This will not be using application authentication. You won't be able to post a tweet or search for user or something, but you can just access their resources. Like, you can view the user timelines or search for hashtags in tweets, search for tweets like that, and stuff like that. So this is something basic, and we'll be seeing how to do this, and it uses OAuth, as you know. And so it would be better to get a easy understanding of OAuth as well. So if you haven't already seen, kindly watch my previous videos on OAuth 2, which I have done previously on how to build your own application. OAuth 2 backend and frontend as well. So Twitter is basically based on OAuth, and then we'll see how we could access these resources using this app only authentication method. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to create a application on their apps.twitter.com portal. Here I have created already an application, and we are going to make use of this. If you hadn't created, there will be an application button called create app. Use this and create an application, and then inside that, go to keys and access tokens. You will be able to see a consumer key and a consumer secret. Note this down. We are going to make use of these two in order to access our in order to receive our access token. So let's start with the code. First of all, I'll open up app.component.html and then write a button here. Button click equal to make call. Okay, and then let's get into app.component.ts and then write a function here. Now you might already know this if you are a web developer, but The thing is, if you try to make a request to another server or request a resource from your local host, your browser will stop that consider that as a security threat and stop that. This is the cross origin resource sharing policy. So in order to bypass that, you either need to disable your browser security feature, or you need to have a server and then make the call to that resource from that server. So we'll be using the second method now. We'll have a Node.js server from where we are going to call our Twitter APIs, and from our front end application, this Angular 2 application, will simply call the Node.js server in a REST endpoint. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So in order to do that, we need HTTP, right? Import from Angular /HTTP. This is done, and then inside this HTTP /commanders. Instructor private HTTP. Okay, and then in order to make this work, you need to give HTTP module is already here. Wow, that's amazing. So then what else do you need to do? We need to have a backend, and from here we are going to call that backend, right? So let's open up our and then in order to build the REST APIs in the backend, we'll just make use of Express. So this is just stuff that you already know, guys. If you're you would obviously come across this when you might have developed your own applications, right? Node.js in Node.js. So Express, and then I'll be making use of request, and then what else? I'll be making use of body parser, and then I'll save this. Okay, then let that get installed. We'll get into backend and then create a file called server.js. This is where our main thing will be. So in this, what we'll do is in server.js we'll be having express equal to require express, and then we'll need body parser equal to require body parser, and obviously the course thing which we didn't install, right? Install course course equal to require course. Okay, then we'll straight away go ahead and create the application, and then make it use the body parser dot URL encoded. This will extend it, extended to, okay. It'll also use course, right? Use course, and the next thing we'll do is write REST endpoint routes. So before writing that, just make this listen on 3000. Before writing that, we'll write that in a separate file called first we'll have a config.js in which we'll have like both the consumer key and the consumer secret, right? That we'll have var app settings equal to consumer key. Consumer key would be, where is it? this one, right? And then consumer secret would be this one, right? And then we'll have the bearer token as well, which we won't be filling up as of now, since we will be getting this using by making a request to Twitter. So then we'll go ahead and write a module dot exports equal to app settings. Okay, now config is there, right? Now the next thing we'll create is something called functions, like functions.js, and then inside this what we'll be having is functions to handle the REST endpoints. So here is where I'll be making use of request to make my HTTP calls. So require request, and then where config equal to require config. Okay. Then I'll write the functions equal to authorize function request response. Inside this, as usual, this is just usual stuff, guys, which we do on a regular basis. If you had watched my previous videos, you would obviously understand whatever I'm doing here now. I'm just creating a header with the colon in between, and then config dot consumer secret. Okay, and then I'm converting it to a base64 format. So new buffer header dot to string base64 and then I'll add the basic keyword final header. These are all the regular steps that we follow for any OAuth based authorization mechanism, guys. If you have any more doubts, kindly watch my videos on this, in which I have like explained in detail on why we are doing this. Basically this is just the steps, guys. Wait, I'll show you rather than talking about it. I think it will be here. Yeah, here it's there, right? First you need to URL encode that, and then you use a colon in between and concatenate the consumer key and consumer secret, and then base64 encode the whole thing, and then add the basic word in front of that, and the body of the request should be containing this, right? So that's what I'm doing. I have done till adding the basic thing, and then for the body of body I'll just give it directly. So request dot post body HTTPS. What was that? HTTP OAuth 2 token, right? HTTPS api.twitter.com/OAuth2/token, and here I'll form grant underscore credentials. This will be not credentials, grant type grant type equal to client underscore credentials, and then I'll add a comma here, and headers will be like authorization final header. Okay, this is done, and I need to handle these two, right? So function, this will be like a callback thing, error response body. Okay, and then I'll if error console.log error, if not else config.bearer token equal to json.parse of body.access_token. Okay, Here we'll store the bearer token which we receive from receive as a result of a successful call to that auth2 token REST API. So we'll just send this back just for our satisfaction. JS.json success true, and then data will be config.bearer token. Okay, this is done. We have a function called authorize which we will export now. Module.exports functions, right? Functions. Okay, this is done. So let's get back to server.js, and then here we will make an app.post authorize. This will have a function, we can make use of that function itself, right? Where functions equal to require /functions. Yep, and then here functions dot authorize, right? That's it, I guess, and it should go fine now. Let's see how this goes, guys. So backend is ready, and as regards to the front end, we have just left it off here. Okay, then we'll continue building up the front end as well. So where headers equal to headers, and dot append content type application /www form URL included, and I'll finish this off, and then below this I'll just add this .http.post http localhost 3000/authorize, and then this will have headers, and this will again subscribe press, and then we will just console.log out, and that's it, guys. So what we have done so far is, in case you are wondering and in case you are confused, what we have done so far is we have just registered our application on the Twitter apps.twitter.com, and then from using, we got a consumer key and a consumer secret. So making use of those two, we can send a request to get an access token from Twitter. Using that access token, we can send whatever requests we want to whatever REST APIs endpoints we want, and we can access their resources. That's what we are doing. So as of now, what we have done is we have used those two, and then we are trying to make a request to Twitter to get back a access token. Let's see if this works. So first I'll start the backend. Okay, what's the problem? Config. Okay, and then I'll start the front end as well. Clear. Okay, now let's just open up our browser and then try accessing localhost 4200. Let's see what actually happens. App works, authorized, so everything should go fine, right? Our console is now open, and then I'm clicking on authorize. Okay, what's the problem? Response with status 500, internal server error. Let's see if there is any actual error showing up. Base 64 is not defined. Okay, that's an error. Let's see why it's not defined then. this should be like in brackets, right? Base 64. Now let's just click on authorize and see what happens. Wow, it goes successfully, guys. We get the access token, right? This data corresponds to the data that is being sent, right? Where is it? Function store. Yeah, this is the one, right? So I'm just staring at that screen and then wondering, okay, this bearer token is the one that corresponds to this data, right? We are receiving it as response. So as of now, our code works successfully and we are able to get a access token, guys. So let's make use of this access token and try to like make a search. For example, let's just wait. Wait, I'll show you some basic example or something from this thing itself, Twitter's API itself. This is a list of the REST APIs which Twitter provides public, right? For public, we may do the search API, the first one, search API. Okay, this is the search API, and let's just take a sample request. So many parameters. Okay, this is a sample request, right? Query equal to 40% 40 Twitter API. Now how this is being built is we are just sending a request to a REST endpoint, and then the query, we are URL encoding the query and then sending that request. That's all that's happening here, right? So why not, let's just try and try to do this in our application and get some tweets based on our query request. Okay, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to like make our application a bit like bit more pretty to look at. So this is optional. If you want, you can do this, otherwise this is not required, guys. So I'm going to make use of the Materialize CSS framework. Obviously, so if you had been watching my videos previously, you know that I like to play around with Materialize CSS and the Bootstrap Material Design framework. So pretty. Now let's see how this changes our application. Now you can see, right, this click is nothing but our, wait, I'll rename that so that it makes more sense. Rather than just saying click, it would say authorize as usual, authorize. And now if you see, this authorize is the one that will enable us to get a access token, and once we give some query here and click on search, we should get the tweets. That's what we are going to do, the first search API, right? So let's just open up app.component.ts and then write code for that. It's very simple, guys. Let's see. If you understand the concept of OAuth, this is very simple, guys. If you don't understand the concept of OAuth, kindly watch my videos, try to get a grasp of the concept and then try this. Otherwise you won't understand this quickly. So let's write a search call, right? Search call, and then inside this I'll have where headers equal to new headers as usual. And then here search query equal to nothing. Save this, come back here, and then give inside the input field I'll give ng2 ng model equal to search query, right? Search query. Okay. And then here I'll and then copy this and paste it so that it saves a lot of time. And then this .http .post, we need to make the REST API call from here, right? So let's go back to this, stop it as of now, and then stop this as well as of now. Open up our server.js and app.post search, and here I'll just give functions.search. Okay, save this up, and then go inside functions and then write a search thing for this. So this is where we need to give a command, search function request response, right? And then inside this where search query equal to request.body query. Okay, and then where we need to change it to the URL encoded format, right? So encoded search query equal to encode URI component. Here I will give the search query. Okay, now it's in URL encoded format. And then where final header equal to or we'll have a different name, guys, so that you don't get bearer header equal to, we need to have the bearer token here, which we got in the previous step, right? Bearer plus concatenate the config.bearer token here. Okay, this is done. Now just make the request dot get, and then how did that look? Search API api.twitter.com/1.1/search/tweets.json, and then the query, right? So https api.twitter.com/1.1/search/tweets.json query equal to, and here we need to give our encoded query, right? Encoded search query plus ampersand result underscore type equal to reason. If we give the result type equal to reason, then it will take only the recent results of that particular search term and return it for us, guys. That's what we are doing here. So then as usual, like we did in the previous step, we will give the headers will be like authorization header will be the bearer header, right? Bearer header. Okay, and then we need something to handle the callback, right? Function error body response, and then inside this if error, as usual, if error console.log error, if not else response.json success, and then this will be true, obviously, and data will be json.parse of body. Okay, it's exactly similar to what we did here, right? So we are making the call here and then passing in our query, and then if the call is successful, then we are returning a JSON response to the calling front-end app. Okay, let's just open up app.component.ts now, and then we need to make some slight modifications here in order to get the data from there and then print it here, right? That's all. So this .http.post http localhost 3000/search, right? Search, and then data. No, data is not necessary. We need to give it like query, right? How are we going to send the query from here to there? Okay, we don't even need query. We can just give it like search term equal to query equal to, and then plus what was that, search query, not search query, this dot search query. Okay, so now if we just pass in a search term, now this entire thing will go there. And then if you notice in the backend I have written like request.body.query, right? So obviously it will take the since this is the one passed along with query, it will take it as query. So it will take our search term, right? That's what I'm trying to explain, guys. So search term and then comma, headers as usual, headers, and subscribe, response as usual, and then inside this this dot tweets data equal to response dot json dot data dot statuses. Okay, this dot tweet status. Okay, this is done. How is it showing like this? Okay, it's showing like that because we didn't close the subscribe. Okay, this is done. And then now we have a search call, and then we are making the call here, and based on the response we are just splitting, taking it and then storing it in a tweets data. And in the app.component.html we are taking the tweets data, iterating through it, and then showing it up in cards. Okay, so let's see if this works fine, guys. We have saved everything. Go here. So we first start the backend. Then go here. Start the front end as well. Okay, let's see how our app works now. A lot of looks like. And I think, I'm not sure, we have forms module here. Okay, no problem. Now let's see where this. Okay, now let me click on authorize, and then we get the access token, right? For hashtags, let us just give SpaceX, since there was a rocket explosion recently, right? So there were a lot of tweets about it. Let's see what happens. So I'm clicking on search now. Okay, error connection refused. We'll just see what's the error. Okay, this error is mainly due to the fact that we are already getting an object and we need not parse it again, guys. That's what this means. So let's just go here, and then we have made some error somewhere, I guess. Okay, this body thing will be like there will be a body, and inside that it will have two fields called status code and another body. So instead of, if we try to parse this entire thing, then obviously it will return it's already an object and you can't parse it again. So rather than doing that, what we'll do is we'll just give the inner body thing, right? We'll do that. So now if you just and then go here, give authorize, clear the console, give authorize, again SpaceX, right? Give search. See, we are getting the tweets, right? Oh, we just have only one tweet. We'll just give some other Olympics. See, you get a lot of tweets in different cards, right? This is because if you notice app.component.html, I am just using the profile image URL and then displaying using a ng for to iterate through the tweets data. Tweets data is nothing but our it contains our response, right, from based on that search response. So this is how normally you would access or play around with the resources of Twitter that are made publicly available. This is how you use OAuth 2 authorization method in order to access the resources of Twitter and then use them in your own application, guys. This is the thing. Now you might wonder, what if we want to log in or access or post a tweet or delete a tweet or search for users or something like that. So in that case, what you need to do is, this app only authentication won't work in that case, and you need to do some other method of authentication. So my focus was to show you how to do this, and previously I had I have been saying this over and over again, but previously I have dealt with few other OAuth 2. I have explained OAuth 2 in few other videos, right? So my focus was to show you guys a real-time application of how OAuth is used in a large-scale application like Twitter. So this is how it's done, guys. And there is a lot of other things you can do as well. What else? For example, let us consider. We'll quickly do one more thing, guys. For example, timeline, pulling a user's timeline or something like that. Okay. So to do that, first we are in the back end, right? No, we are in the front end. We'll go to the, or we'll finish the front end work first and then go to the back end. We'll copy this itself. Before that, we need a screen name, right? So we'll just console.log response.json.data. Okay, if you get into the user object, you will get a screen name. Screen name is Yasmin Pane 1, right? We'll make use of this. Yasmin Pane 1. I'll copy this. Get back to our application, do some more copy pasting work. We'll just first of all copy this entire thing. Instead of search call, this we can name it as user call. And then what else, guys? Instead of query, I'll just give name equal to I'll hard code the screen name is just to show you a demo. Screen name equal to, what was that? Okay, and then all these will be the same, and instead of search I will give user, and then all these are same more or less. Here instead of this thing, I'll move this console.log response.json.data. This is enough. Okay, then let's go to server then what we'll do here is we'll build up the user function, or can we just copy paste as we did there? Yeah, we can just copy paste, and rather than we can just change the wait. Okay, instead of this request.body.query, it will be screen name, screen name, or what was that we used? Where is it? Screen name. Okay, this is screen name, and then we'll go to the search API. This was the search API. Working with timelines. Or get user timeline. Okay. We'll take a sample request. And then paste it here. This screen name alone will modify it to our what was that thing? Search screen. Okay, and header is authorization header function. Okay, this is all that is good. And then here we'll just JSON.response. Okay, everything is fine, guys. So we'll just go here, copy this and paste it once again, and give user here, save this, and here also give user, save this again, and then server.js. Oh, what's the problem here? The app component.html, I'll just create another button. We'll first click on authorize, it is done. Then we'll click on user timeline. Okay, we get an object. If you open that, there are two statuses, right? The first one is at the last closing ceremony this happened, some status about Olympics, and then he has hashtagged it with closing ceremony, right? So we'll just search for closing ceremony. See, at the last Olympics this happened, Yasmin Jefferson his name is, so we are getting the tweet, right? So this is how you can pull a user's timeline and then play with it, guys. We have just seen how to, like, get the reason why we are getting just two is here we gave it has 2, right? Count is 2, right? That's the reason we are getting only 2 responses. But anyway, you get the idea, right? This is how you can get a tweet, search for tweets, or play with pull up a user timeline and play with it. And this is basically application only authentication, guys. This is how you make a basic Twitter application using your Angular 2 code. So yeah guys, this is what I wanted to show you guys today. If you like this video, kindly share it with someone else and help them too. And also subscribe to my channel to watch more cool stuff like this. So yeah guys, I hope this video was helpful to you, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.